Sacred Words, Writing and Ancient Egypt. As part of the 2022 Birmingham Egyptology Symposium, Shifting Sands, Changes Over Time in Ancient Egypt, members of Birmingham Egyptology have curated a temporary mini-exhibition at the Eton Myers collection. This video illustrates some of the highlights of this exhibition for those unable to attend in person. The temporary exhibition has been broken down into 4 key themes: Thoth, a god of writing; examples of writing, funerary versus daily life; amuletic hieroglyphs; and excavation marks and labels. These are 5 of the highlight objects that we've chosen from our temporary exhibition to illustrate for you today. The first of these objects is a beautiful piece of faience in the form of a baboon. Our second object will also be made of faience. This is a lovely heart scarab. The third object we'd like to show you is this pre-dynastic vessel, particularly interesting because of this mark on the side, which we'll discuss further. Our fourth object is an amulet in the form of the Wadjet eye, also known as the Eye of Horus. And the final object to show you today is this piece of flint with a sticker or label on it, as well as an inscription on the other side, which can help tell us more about its provenance. Thoth, a god of writing. Thoth was viewed as a god of wisdom and writing, as well as being associated with the moon. Depicted in the form of a baboon and an ibis, as his curved beak would be similar to a crescent moon. Thoth's link to a baboon remains unclear, but the animal was often associated with many deities for its strength, virility, and its reaction to the rising of the sun in the morning. Baboons were often seen as a manifestation of the god Thoth. This small faience statuette may have served an amuletic purpose, but without its provenance it's difficult to draw conclusions as to its function. Faience items such as this are typically made in a mould, with the finer details as seen here added by hand in black paint. Examples of writing, funerary versus daily life. Texts appear in many mediums and on a variety of objects, both funerary and objects used in daily life. There are a variety of arrangements that the hieroglyphs can take to fit the different surfaces and shapes of the objects. Over time, the language of Egypt developed and changed, combining with Greek and then the later language of Coptic. Eventually, the ancient Egyptian language was replaced as the spoken language of Egypt by Greek and later by Arabic. Larger than the other scarabs chosen for this exhibition, heart scarabs such as this were often inscribed with chapter 30b of the Book of the Dead. The purpose of this scarab was to be buried with the deceased individual to ensure that their heart would be lighter than the feather of Ma'at, allowing them to pass into the afterlife. The inscription reads, "My heart of my mother, my heart of my mother, my heart of my forms, do not be hostile before the keeper of the balance. Do not raise up a witness against the Osiris, the mistress of the house, the chantress of Amun-Re, king of the gods, Nez," and unfortunately the rest of her name is lost, but she is also described as true of voice. Such vessels as this are usually associated with the pre-dynastic period, even if some examples can be dated to the early dynastic period as well. It is possible that the colours had a symbolic meaning. Such vessels are commonly found in tombs and religious environments. These jars often present with a decoration in the form of a figurine made of the same ware and then attached to the vase, or in the form of a graffito, like the one here. It has been suggested that this sort of artistic expression could also be considered as one of the first attempts at writing, perhaps to document the contents of the jar, or to give it an even more symbolic or magical value. Amuletic hieroglyphs. Image was an all-powerful thing to the ancient Egyptians. Through wearing objects such as amulets, the magical properties, also known as heka, would transfer to the amulet and then provide protection to the wearer. Hieroglyphic amulets represent the image, but also the sacred text. The amulet would hold properties of both the image and the sacred text represented. This blue frit, double-sided Wadjet eye has black manganese paint on one side and is incised on the other, with the suspension hole running through it longitudinally. Also known as the Eye of Horus, the Wadjet Eye amulet was one of the most popular amulets in Egypt. Believed to have had protective powers, this amulet was worn by the living and the dead. Excavation marks and labels. Modern inscriptions upon objects can also be important. Excavation numbers, collection labels, auction stickers and handwritten notes all help to retrace object life cycles. Unfortunately, due to the process through which many objects were acquired at this time, provenance is often lost. But through the careful scrutiny of the objects, it's sometimes possible to re-establish this lost information. The typed label upon this flint tool tells us that it was previously in the collection of Hayward Walter Seton Carr. He was born in 1859 and died in 1938. He was an explorer who collected a number of ancient Egyptian artefacts, which were later donated to Eton College. This particular example, as we can see from the label, was found in the Eastern Desert near Esna. Thank you so much for watching this highlights collection from our virtual exhibition at the Eton Myers collection. Please do visit our website or any of our social media pages to find out more information.